Welcome back, everyone, to the Forex Beginners Trading course. Now, for those of you guys who do not know, we are producing for you guys a trading course, A to Z for beginners, everything you need to know, foundation-wise, all the principles you need to get started trading Forex. And we are modeling the curriculum over on the babypips.com website. So for those of you guys who haven't checked out their website, I definitely would recommend it. So if you want to, you can just check the description below. Everything's free on there. We are posting the corresponding pages and the links to those pages directly that correspond to these lessons. So definitely go over and check that website out. But in today's lesson, we're going to be discussing the best times of the day to trade Forex. So the last few lessons, we've discussed the different sessions in the the foreign exchange market. And basically some of those sessions overlap, which allow for times that are best to trade and times that are not. So just because sessions overlap does not necessarily mean it's going to be a great time to trade. And that's something we're going to discuss today. So it's going to be a bit of a quick one, but definitely a very necessary lesson to get a feel for what sessions you want to trade, what overlaps you want to trade, and how you want to trade them. So let's go ahead and get started. First off, when is the best time? So Forex sessions are the best time to be trading, right? We discussed that in the past few lessons, and hopefully you guys understand that and understand why. If not, go back and watch those lessons. Definitely explains why exactly sessions are so important. So if you attempt to trade during times that are unassociated with a session, you may be met with very low volatility and also very low liquidity. So not a lot of traders coming into the markets at those times may cause a bit of wider spreads, which basically means higher transaction costs, and honestly not a lot of potential for profit. So you want to make sure you're at least trading in a session. So an overlap of sessions is normally the best time to partake in the markets, as this provides liquidity and volatility from various major financial epicenters. So the first one I wanted to discuss is the Tokyo-London overlap. So in the Tokyo-London overlap, liquidity is quite thin during this overlap. So especially at the beginning, right? So we discussed, you would think, sessions are the best times to trade. Any overlap of two sessions is going to be great. Well, that's not the case. And we can see that here with the Tokyo-London overlap. Oftentimes we don't see a lot of movement at all during this session. There is potential for profit, but compared to the other overlap that we're about to discuss, there's not a ton of potential in comparison. So there isn't much movement during the Asian session to begin with. So once the afternoon hits, volatility dies down. European traders are just arriving to their offices, which can be slow at times starting off the session. But this is a great time to look for potential trades to take for the London and New York sessions, which leads us to our next overlap. So the London and New York overlap. This is when the most activity is seen throughout the 24-hour trading period of a day. And I just want to make a point, guys, real quick. If you get to the end of this trading course, which is going to be quite long, I just want to put that out there right now. We do have a lot of lessons to get through in the future. But I do want to make a point that if you decide and begin trading with a longer term strategy where you're not a day trader and you focus on longer term setups, you don't necessarily have to worry too much about sessions. However, you do always want to keep them in mind and understand how they work and which ones you want to partake in, even when you are placing your trades. Because let's say, just go to the ultimate extreme. Let's say you trade on the daily or the weekly time frame. That's a very long-term trading strategy. You're still going to want to sit down, and when you place those trades, you want to sit down and you want to be placing them at a good entry point based off of the sessions. So again, we'll talk about that, some of that more advanced stuff later on, but I just want to make that a clear point that sessions and overlaps really matter a lot when you are a day trader specifically and you're sitting down to trade a session or an overlap every single day, whatever days you do trade. So traders from the two largest financial centers London and New York are both active. This is kind of common sense. We know New York City is massive with Wall Street and everything there, and London is a massive financial center as well, especially when it comes to the foreign exchange market. So this is when some of the largest moves are made, especially when news from the US and Canada are released. If there are any strong trends established during the London session, we can often see a continuation as US traders decide to jump in and establish their positions after learning about the news. Although, as we discussed earlier, you may see European traders take profit around lunchtime in New York for their end of day. So it can kind of go both ways. Sometimes we'll see a trend established during the London session. We'll see a large move to the upside or to the downside. And then we'll actually see a reversal once the New York session starts because London session traders start to take their profits. Or vice versa, if it's supported by some sort of news piece or something like that, economic data, whatever it may be, and there's a clear trend and a fundamental reason as to why that trend was established, that's normally where you'll see more of a continuation in that trend. So keep that in mind. A lot of times when it's just based off technicals, you'll see a reversal in order for New York traders to kind of have a nice setup and a way to capture a large amount of profit. But if there's a fundamental reason as to why, then normally, a lot of times you'll see a continuation. So that is actually all the slides we have for you guys, except for this one. Just wanted to show you guys that nice little beautiful picture that they have over from babypips.com. And again, guys, I definitely recommend going and checking out the website. We leave all the corresponding links to the lessons down in the description below. Completely free website. It's where I got started learning Forex and where a lot of people do as well. And that's why we're making these video lessons for you guys, model after their curriculum, because it is very vital. And I know a lot of guys prefer to have a video lesson rather than a text lesson, especially since I can put in a few more pieces of knowledge and just a few little tips here and there based off my experience trading and everything like that. So hope you guys did enjoy this lesson. Again, going over best times of the day to trade Forex. And if you guys want to go back and watch any of the other lessons previous to this one, definitely go over to the channel and check it out. We will be putting everything in a playlist for you guys can just flip through lesson by lesson, but all of them are numbered so you guys don't get that confused. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one, and we will see you guys in the next lesson.